Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, you know, I promised you an interesting morning show. Before the break, we had Her Excellency Harriet Cross, the British High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, and we bid her farewell on her way out as she has given Trinidad and Tobago a wonderful 4 years of service, and we want to say thank you to her again. And now, as we continue this morning's discussion, we have the privilege of sitting in studio with the Minister of Sport and Community Development, as well as the MP for Tobago West, the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Tobago, the entire listening public. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are always excited to have you here on Tobago Updates whenever we can catch you, because we know that you're always running back and forth between the islands. Now, one of the key topics of discussion that has been on the table is this Tobago Autonomy Bill and the work that needs to be done in unity to make sure that this bill is passed. Now, we know that the People's National Movement has launched a campaign to gain support from Tobagonians for that bill, with a number of initiatives and events happening throughout the island to raise awareness. But one of the key elements of ensuring that this bill goes to Parliament and is successful is ensuring that there's unity in terms of the input for amendments on this bill. How important do you think it is to have those cross-political conversations or unified political discussions with all members of that political sphere in Tobago?
I sit in a very interesting seat as a member also of the Joint Select Committee. I've served on both Joint Select Committees from 2018 all the way to 2021. And it's interesting to note that throughout the entire journey, this thing has been cross-political. As you know, it was Ashworth Jack as minority leader who brought the motion to the Tobago House of Assembly. He was in the minority position, and Orville London, in his capacity as Chief Secretary, along with his PNM team, agreed. And so it has been a cause that has been championed across political lines over the years. For those of us who would remember Mr. Ho Choi Charles getting on board the Tobago platform of parties, and as a member of the Joint Select Committee, we called in members of the Tobago platform of political parties. So I think every step along the way, anybody who wanted to contribute to this has been able to contribute. The thing is, this has been about a 20-year journey in most recent times, and it's time to bring it to a vote. It's time to come to a conclusion, or else the thing begins to lose essence and lose substance, and people are tired of having the same conversation over and over again. And not just that, as a responsible parliament, it would be only right that you bring the matter to a vote so that you get to save the work, use the work, make the best use of the research that has been done over the years, get the support of the parliamentarians in the House who have been part and parcel of the process over the years. Because as much as we as Tobagonians say that we want this and we want that, all well and good, law, it requires a change in law. And the only way laws can be changed is through the parliament. And we're not talking to ourselves alone in the parliament. We have to convince at least another 9 votes or another 9 seats across the floor. So, yes, so having as much consensus on the matter is important. I think that we have tried over the years in all ways and means with so many different people and parties over the years, and we're at the point where it's time to try to make good on all that has been accomplished in research, in guidance from the legal luminaries, persons from the United Nations, and so on. So we look forward to that.
Right. And side note, do you think the UNCBT might be what offers the support for this bill?
I think I think it all boils down to the day. There has been differing views over the last couple of weeks. Very early, there's a member of the B team that said, no, they're not going to support. Personally, I don't think the UNC wants Tobago to have this. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the votes on the day. I would not be surprised if they don't support. But I think what is most important, I'm not too worried about the UNC. It's all about Tobagonians speaking with one voice and trying to make a giant leap in this journey that has been going on for so long. We have to honor the works that were done over the years by young Tobagonians, older Tobagonians, those who have passed, and honor the works of not only the parliamentarians, but the staff of the parliament. I saw them working day and night over the years because they felt like they were doing something good for the country and for Tobago. I think this is the only time in our history that we have had that kind of unison or consensus, or everybody pretty much agreeing to where we want to go with this. The other efforts had didn't come all the way through in the past, and I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's certainly a huge leap and a far cry from what we have now. So it's not, I hear people saying, they want us to take little and live long. Nobody says that. We don't want you to keep little and live long either, because what we have before us at the parliament, before the committee of the whole, is so much better than what we have now at 40 of 1996. So you can't be telling the people, don't take this improved legislation and keep the little that you have that we already proved not doing too much for us,
Right. But is it not dangerous to say to Tobagonians, let's take this as a step in the right direction, as opposed to truly getting what Tobago deserves after so long of advocating for this Tobago autonomy situation? As you indicated, it has been a long, tedious fight to get Tobago to a place where we have something that at least there's a middle ground on.
I think that there's more than a middle ground here, because if we are really reading the documents, because there are a lot of people out there making comments who haven't read the documents or haven't consulted the research or even asked a question. They just heard their political party saying X, Y, or Z, and they jump on the campaign trail. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that if we could have passed this thing in Tobago, we would have done so. But of course, you have to engage the parliament. And so it's about taking the parliament as far as these 41 persons will take you. There is no question as to the support from the PNM members in the government, but we don't have enough to carry it over. So of course, that's why it went to a joint select committee of the members of the government, the opposition, independents, so they can weigh in. And not just that, we were saying many different things in the document that we sent. In one voice, we're saying that we want to remain a part of the unitary state, but yet in the document included some terms that you use only when you're a sovereign state or if you're breaking away. When we did the consultations, we said, yes, federalism is something we can see in the future, but this is not what we're debating right now, or we feel like we have to build our economy some more before we get to that place of federalism. So to take that to the parliament, say you want X, and then when we're at this point now to vote, you're shifting the goalpost and say, well, we want federalism. Well, did you have the conversation with the nation about federalism? Do you have the research? Where your position? Because that was not presented to the parliament. That you wanted secession, that was not presented to the parliament. Neither did you present federalism. So if the chief secretary and the team in the Tobago House of Assembly are now saying that Tobagonians have changed their mind and they now want federalism, then where is the consultation? Where is the research? What are you giving the parliament to consider? Because we considered what you gave to us. And I'm pleased to say that as a member of the Joint Select Committee over the years, every single comment that was submitted to the JSC was ventilated, considered, you engaged legal luminaries, engaged the United Nations, every single point, even from a layman that would say, okay, I think this or I think that, if you check the 749-page document that has been on the parliamentary website for over 3 years, you would see it all there, every single comment that you can possibly raise that was submitted.
All right. And when you look at the document in its entirety and everything that Tobagonians are being offered with this, is there one element of it that you personally are not comfortable with?
You see, being a part of the process puts you in a different position. When we had submitted this thing to central government, I was a part of the thing saying, yes, we want equality of status and all that kind of thing. It sounds good, yeah, but you can't say that and then say we want to remain a unitary state. So when you say equality of status, what are you taking and let's say you want to challenge that and you want to go to court. Name something that you're going to raise that says we are not equal in status. So when we consulted the legal luminaries,
one of the things would be that budgetary allocation every year.
So
we don't feel equal when that happens every year.
You see, you don't feel equal to the other 39 constituencies. You understand what I'm saying? So if you are vying for internal self-government, you're remaining a part of the Trinidad and Tobago, then you are one state. You're one state. You have to remember we are not separate states. We are one country, and there is no other piece of law anywhere or constitution anywhere for a place that is one country where you're saying we want equality of status. So what we were guided to do at the Joint Select Committee, and all the documents and the guidelines and the instructions, or should I say the directions, are here in the document where we're told it's about equality of opportunity and equal access to opportunity and so on for every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. You can't be part of the same state, the same one state, and say you want equality of status of the same one state. You're one state in the same, so that's the advice.
But then there has been the recommendation coming out of the Division of Finance for the increased allocation for Tobago, and the justification being that Tobago's population size has increased. And so if we are using the population size as a justification, then I believe it was only $1 per citizen that was being requested by the Chief Technical Advisor, Mr. Anselm Richards.
Well, when you look at it, you see we have to look at it as the whole. We requested 8%, whilst and I was part of the team that requested the 8%, and I was on the Joint Select Committee vying for 8% too. Yes, but you have to then engage the persons from Ministry of Finance. We engage persons from United Nations, experts in fiscal federalism and that type of thing. And we ended up at 6.8%. But when we're speaking about 6.8%, we are also forgetting to mention that each year Tobago can ask for beyond the 6.8% through the Fiscal Review Commission, which we did not have before. So, we are calling it Fiscal Review Commission. The Chief Secretary submitted a document calling it Economic Review Commission. At the end of the day, it's the same thing pretty much. And the Fiscal Review Commission allow us to present our case, saying this, we need more, this is what we need it for, and so on. Yeah.
How long would that process take? Because I have heard that with the allocation that was given even this year, that was deemed to be, unsatisfactory. They could have gone and, taken it before the Dispute Resolution Committee, but the process would have been too long.
No, but how do you take it before the resolution, the DRC, when the DRC gives 4.03% to 6.9%, right?
Yeah.
And I think the allocation this year is more than 4.0. Not I think, I know it's more than 4.03%. I think it's about 4.3% or somewhere thereabouts. So what would be your case before the DRC? And not just that, we have to also remember that there are also different items like the airport and so on that's not counted in the Tobago House of Assembly allocation. Money spent on so many other developments taking place in Tobago, grants and so on through the many different ministries. all of that is not a part of the Tobago House of Assembly allocation. It's still covered by central government. Pension to senior citizens, social services, grants for agri, grants for business, payments of persons like the police, prisons, fire, all of that is coming from central government still. So it's interesting to hear Tobagonians talk about this punishing of Tobago, not taking into account that there are so many other areas of development. And of course, yes, we want more. I want more in Ministry of Sport and Community Development. My budget was cut too in Ministry of Sport and Community Development. But we have to be realistic about what's going on in our economy. And yes, the Tobago House of Assembly got the highest budget that it has gotten in all its years. And I hear them talking about, well, the amount for development is lower. But in the Tobago House of Assembly, you can shift your money any ways you want to. You can shift from recurrent to development and so on. So we don't have that liberty. I don't have that liberty. At the end of the day, it's about doing the very best you can with what you have, and being honest and accountable to the people, because I think sometimes we are not being honest. For instance, I've been following the Scarborough Sec debate, and they only give us $500,000 for Scarborough Sec. Now we know for the building of any school or any infrastructure that size, you'll be going, of course, as a government, will be going to the IDF, to the Infrastructural Development Fund. That would not appear in the consolidated fund. What we give to you for budget is coming out of the consolidated fund. And therefore, to build a Scarborough Sec or a piece of infrastructure of that nature, we said we'll be going to the IDB or going for international financing. In order to do so, the Tobago House of Assembly has to submit the necessary documentation to the Ministry of Finance and so on, so that they can present their case to the IDB for the loan. The question is, has the Tobago House of Assembly done that? Can they show us that they've done that? The $500,000, like for instance, I have a similar project in Trinidad, not a school though, where we want to do a development in Point 40, a community project. And the allocation for the first year would be like $500,000 or $1 million. We know, of course, that would not be enough, but you're looking at grant financing. The $500,000 is so that you can scope towards presenting your plan or so on to the IDB. So this lie or this untruth, this misleading of the public, if I dare say it in a better way, it's not fair. It is dishonest. And the Tobago House of Assembly needs to come clean. I mean,
I think the confusion happens when the Minister for Finance pledges, I believe it was about $5 million.
Sure, but in order to do so, he has to go to the IDF. Has the THA done its part? And could the THA show us where the Minister of Finance pledged $5 million? We're doing a lot of things, or coming out and say we have.
I remember he did have he publicly said that he would be paying for.
Show us where. But if it's in the IDF, to do IDF to get loan financing, you have to present your documents. I do have the text message here where we learned about the Scarborough Sec projects and the detail of the Scarborough Sec projects on the social media. The the ministers, the MPs were not invited, but then you tell them, oh, you have to go and plead our cause, and we have no clue. On the day when the Sudturning was taking place, we looked at it, so then we said, Nian, do you know anything about this? Dr. Dolly reached out, Minister of Education reached out to Secretary Hackett. I have a copy of the message here saying, hey, what's this going on? No response. So I wonder are we truly about development for Tobago, or are we about making a bacchanal to be given the impression that Tobago is not treated well? And so on. It makes good politics, but it takes us nowhere as it relates to Tobago's development.
All right. But do you understand how it can be misleading when you pledge $5 million and then you come in the budget and then you give 500,000?
But we know what 500, if we're saying, and that still does not take $5 million, if such a pledge was made, right? It still does not take from that, because if you're given $500,000 towards getting what you need from the IDF, it cannot possibly be a consolidated fund.
I have Tobagonian. I have no
then we have to make Tobagonians aware, and I think all Tobago House of Assembly have a duty to show to Tobagonians, this is the document that I sent to the Minister of Finance on X date. This is what I said, and then this is what he said.
Right.
But to be standing up and making these spurious comments that you had a verbal promise and so on, we know that's not the way it works, because at the end of the day, we need to see it in black and white to know that it has actually happened, or else it becomes a battle of words and different persons calling each other liars. You know what I mean? I think Tobagonians deserve more than that. Yeah.
But from your perspective, do you think that the Scarborough Sec project should be funded by the central government?
I think the Scarborough Sec project should be funded by the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, and whatever arrangement the House of Assembly and Minister of Finance comes up with, we can't be here assuming and presuming. Let's present the documents and let's see what's the best way to make it happen.
Understood. But we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to be back with lots more on this conversation, so see you soon.
New dawning as the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor.
Unwrap the magic of